of the regular season is officially upon us. Your Dallas Cowboys are 12-4 and seeking win number 13 on the season, but they face a feisty Washington team that has nothing to lose this afternoon as they have been eliminated from the playoffs. Haley Sutton with you here on Cowboys Rewind, where for the final time this season, we'll take a look back at how the team spent the week getting ready for the Commanders. Now, I mentioned Washington won't be playing postseason ball, but that doesn't mean they won't bring it on Sunday. As for the Cowboys, they're also not backing down. They have a chance to clinch as high as the 1 seed for the upcoming playoffs if things fall in their favor. And as wide receiver CeeDee Lamb explains, they can only control what they can control. That will be the focus later this afternoon.
Playing well. We gotta prove it to ourselves before we prove it to anybody else. And obviously going into these games, next week is starting the elimination round. So there's no really room for any more my bads or any more pretty much anything that'll negate us or offensively take us back in the wrong direction. But just keep building, man. We got to build on the small things that we built throughout this whole season, and now it's time to actually put it all together and put it on display.
How did the playoffs being so close make you guys feel?
We ready, honestly. I mean, it's an exciting moment. I feel like this season went by a lot faster than my previous 2 years. But I feel like, of course, me personally doing my job on this team, I'm ready. I'm ready for that.
Does how last year ended tie into the excitement, the eagerness to get back there?
Yeah. Just obviously feeling like we didn't put our best, work out there last year, and they kind of want to build off that. And we left a lot of plays out there, and then there's a lot of things that we could have built off last year for sure.
A big challenge for the Cowboys coming up as they face one of the toughest defenses in the NFC East, as well as another surprise at QB. Next on Cowboys Rewind, how the team will have to prepare for an uncommon opponent behind center.
Cowboys Rewind is brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
For the third straight game, the Dallas Cowboys will face a backup quarterback. Commanders head coach Ron Rivera making the decision to go with rookie Sam Howell as the starting play caller in today's game. Now, obviously, there's not a ton of film on the guy, seeing as though he has yet to suit up in a game other than in the preseason. So it'll be another challenge for the defense to prepare for the unknown. But it could be another opportunity for the Dallas secondary to continue to show off. Our guys Kyle Yeomans and Isaiah Standback explain how the Cowboys' young players can continue to make an impact on this week's edition of Film Room.
It is the final week of the regular season. That means there's one more regular season edition of Film Room presented by Hyper Ice here from the Star in Frisco. We've got Super Bowl champion Isaiah Standback ready to break down the film of this Dallas Cowboys team. I'm Kyle Yeomans with you as well. All right. We've seen a couple of young guys having to step up at the cornerback spot. Nahshon Wright, Kelvin Joseph at times, Deron Bland with 5 interceptions this season. They've all had their ups and definitely have had their downs, but we're going to stay positive. It's a new year. It's a new us. Yes. It's a new Film Room. Yes. We're going to stay positive and take a look at some of the interceptions that these young guys have been able to have. And let's start with Nahshon Wright.
We're going to start with Mr. Nahshon Wright, second-year cornerback. Okay, this dude is a big fella out there. He's about 200 pounds, 6'4". He's bigger than me, height-wise, not weight. I got him on the weight. Okay, but he is making some good plays. And because he's getting more reps, he's getting more familiarized and getting his confidence back and that swag that he is, that reason why he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm going to show you guys what's going on here. Okay, every offensive play, there's a battle going on between the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. And the offensive coordinator wins sometimes, D coordinator wins sometimes. On this particular play, the offensive coordinator of Tennessee Titans wins, but you know who else wins? Nahshon Wright wins. I'm going to show you guys exactly what's going on here. We're going to have a cover 2 beater, all right? These guys are projecting that it's going to be cover 2, and it is cover 2. So what you have here is a cornerback whose responsibility, all right, the cornerback's responsibility is to come downhill, all right? He's responsible for this part of the field, where the safety's responsibility is for that part of the field. So being that this is a cover 2 beater, where is the highlight of the weakness of this defense is going to be right there in what we call that honey hole right there, okay? That's where you want to drive the ball in that particular front. All right, let's go ahead and see what happens here. So as you see the guys release, boom, pause it right there. First of all, great job. Not his responsibility, but a great job if you can help. Nahshon Wright goes ahead and forces the inside release and pushes this receiver down towards his help on the inside. Great job forcing him down there. And then what does he do? He gets back out to his responsibility, all right? He does a great job of getting back out to his responsibility. He's forcing this guy up here. So now this safety can see exactly what's going on. All right, but what does he acknowledge? Nahshon Wright's eyes are in the backfield. He is acknowledging what's going on back here with the quarterback in terms of his defensive front giving pressure. Where is the line of scrimmage? The line of scrimmage is right here. Not the line of scrimmage, the yard markers are right there. So he knows where this guy right here is trying to get to, all right? So he takes care of his responsibility, but what else does he do? Not only does he go ahead and he pauses here, he forces this guy up and says, no, don't throw it there. He baits him and then goes back here and makes one heck of a play. So you guys see him right here doing a great job of baiting. The ball is now getting thrown, or the quarterback's now coming out the pocket. Go ahead and play it through, right? As that happens, pause it. Now he sees the quarterback loading up. So what does he do? He takes away the first down option and then he retreats and goes to where he knows the other receiver is out, takes the ball away, using his 6'4" height, using his long arms, making one heck of an athletic play to get an interception for the Dallas Cowboys. Young guy making a great, educated play, understanding what the concept is, and then taking full advantage of what they were trying to do offensively.
Sam Howell will be the 33rd different quarterback to suit up behind center for Washington since they won the Super Bowl back in the 1991 season. He is also the 8th starting quarterback under Ron Rivera in 3 seasons. Of course, we know who the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys will be. When we return on Cowboys Rewind, we'll hear from Dak Prescott on his special friendship with one of his teammates.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Sunday's game will be Dak Prescott's first time to face the Commanders this season. As you all remember, he missed the first meeting with that thumb fracture earlier in the season. Now, Prescott won't be alone, of course, and for the 7th straight season, he'll be taking on Washington with his brother and best friend Ezekiel Elliott by his side. I asked Dak about his relationship with Zeke and why it is so special.
Yeah, that's heartwarming. He's a little brother to me. Yeah, 7 years. This is year 7. Coming in together, obviously, him being drafted to first, me fourth round, not expecting to necessarily play from the jump. But even when I was a backup still, we're very, very close. I had a car in town. He didn't. So it just kind of happened naturally. Just becoming best friends. And, 7 years deep. The friendship's amazing, but also the player that he is on the field is very, very special. And I don't know if I've ever been around a guy or honestly anybody that can have the fun, but the moment that it's time to get serious, lock in, and you know that he's as focused, as smart of a player, as instinctual as a player as I've been around. And it's been fun to go on this journey with him.
Can you talk about you said the brotherhood is really close. Speaking about Zeke, he said Pollard's had more yards this year, Pro Bowl and all that. It seems like he's still his biggest fan. Zeke is his biggest fan. Can you speak of that relationship?
Yeah, honestly, when you talk about brotherhood and culture, I mean, Zeke, as much as anybody in that locker room should get the credit. And honestly, for, like I just said, being able to be light and have fun, but at the same time, lock in. I mean, if you want to see a guy, as I just said, that does it better than anyone, that's him. So for young guys to see that is you can have fun when you come in these locker rooms and you play this game, but it's also very important when it's time to get serious, time to study, time to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's, that you do that. And that's Zeke for you. So, I mean, he is a huge part of the temperature of that locker room, and keeps everything light, pregame, postgame, but everything in between that clock is serious. And just look at him if you're wondering.
Dak's smile says it all. These two have been through so much together with this organization. Now, I also had the chance to sit down with Zeke this week on our season finale of First and 10, where he talked about football and his time with the Cowboys, as well as some furry and not so furry friends. When you look back at the journey that you've had so far, do you register that it's been 7 years in the NFL?
Body definitely feels like it's been 7 years, but I mean, they always say time flies when you're having fun, and I've been having a lot of fun here, and you know, a lot of relationships I've made, and you know, I'm having fun, still having fun. I got a lot left in the tank.
I know you've talked as well about, you know, getting to the playoffs isn't really an accomplishment for this team anymore because you guys have done that before. You have your sights set on a Super Bowl. When you look at the guys that you have in your locker room this year, what makes this group special?
I would say how deep this team is. I mean, you look at this roster, and I mean, we got so much depth at a lot of different positions, and I mean, what it takes, you know, to win down the long road is you need that depth because, you know, guys can get beat up, guys can get banged up, and you got to have that next man up mentality. And when there's not much of a fall off between your first and second string guys, you know, that's tough on opposing teams.
Coach Pete says that he calls you the Hammer and he calls Tony the Sword. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me about the nicknames.
So I'm the Hammer. I'm gonna smash him, and you know, Tony come in, he slice him up.
Have you ever been in a system like this where you've worked so in tandem with another player and it's been as effective as you guys have been this year? You know, this is kind of somewhat new to me the past couple of years with you know, TP, you know, earning a larger role. You know, I was used to always being the bell cow and just touching the ball all the time, but I mean, right now, I wouldn't say there's a year where I felt fresher at this time of the year. And I mean, that's just a testament of just, you know, TP and myself splitting those carries. And I mean, I think we do work very well as a tandem, and we're both, you know, fresh going into the playoffs, and that's what's important. I've spent this year getting to know you a little bit better, and one of the things that has stood out to me is you're an animal lover. You've got a couple of pets at home. I want to talk about the doggies first because I also am a dog mom. Tell me about your doggies at home. Yeah, I have a Frenchie Juice. He's 2, and then I have an English Bulldog. He's 5. His name is Deuce. And then I have a snake. Juice and Deuce. My snake, I have a ball python, and he's about 8 months, and his name is Mr. Snake. Yeah, I want to get into that because almost every single person I've sat down with this year, your teammates are terrified of snakes. When I ask them what their biggest fear is, they say snakes. How did you decide I'm going to get a pet python? You know, I've always been kind of interested. I love all animals, and so, you know, I kind of wanted to get something different. You know, I was thinking of cat, but I was allergic to cats. I am too. But, you know, snakes are pretty easy. They're pretty, I mean, you just got to feed them once a week, clean their cage every couple weeks, water, you know what I mean? And, you know, play with them a couple of times a week. But they're pretty easy to, I mean, they're pretty easy pets. How do you play with the snake? Well, you gotta like hang out with them, like, you know, take him out the cage. He likes to like, you gotta give him some type of stimulant other than the cage. You can't be in the cage the whole life, so, you know, he likes to like kind of like play in the covers and kind of like slither around. Thankfully, Zeke did not bring Mr. Snake to visit the Star, but who knew he had such a soft spot for reptiles? It's time for us to take another break, but this week was also a big week for a few Cowboys of the past. 3 Hall of Fame finalists for America's team were announced. I'll tell you who they are and what they think about the upcoming ceremony next on Cowboys Rewind. The Dallas Cowboys are no strangers to producing Hall of Fame caliber talent, and this year's ballot reflects that. 3 players were selected as finalists for this year's class: defensive end DeMarcus Ware, safety Darren Woodson, and linebacker Chuck Howley. Ware was a finalist last season, but was not picked for that first ballot. As a first-round selection for the Dallas Cowboys back in 2005, D. Ware played 9 seasons for the Cowboys, racking up a franchise-best 117 sacks. He then spent the final 3 years of his career in Denver, where he won a Super Bowl with the Broncos. As for Woodson, this is his first time he's advanced past the semifinal round of 25 candidates. He spent his entire 12-year career in Dallas, setting the record for the most tackles in franchise history back in 2002. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler and the only player on the team to have played for 5 different head coaches. Meanwhile, Howley was named a finalist as a senior candidate after spending 13 of his 15 seasons with the Cowboys. He's a 5-time All-Pro and was an integral part of the Doomsday Defense from 1958 to 1973. He's the only player to ever win a Super Bowl MVP honor for the losing team, winning the title in Super Bowl V when the Cowboys lost to the then Baltimore Colts 16-13. Now, Ware and Woodson were in the Star last week for a press conference to talk about this incredible accomplishment, and they were asked what they would think that moment would be like if selected.
I don't know. It's one of those things where when people ask you, are you going to cry when you get married? Are you going to cry when the baby come out? That's what the guys ask. You going to cry? I really don't know. It's because something's going to come over you at that time. If it's a knock, if it's somebody calling, whatever it is, it's going to be a moment of silence. A moment of silence again that, hey, I'm coming through that tunnel. I get another opportunity to come through that tunnel again. And Woody, what we just said is we miss coming through that tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We might get an opportunity to go through that tunnel one more time.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, I'm gonna cry.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
You know damn well I'm gonna cry. I don't know what the reaction is going to be. I know it would be an emotional reaction in doing so, but it's just an appreciation of so many people. I don't know if it'll be a moment where I'm not going to be patting myself on the back. I know it's going to be, representation of championship football and playing. For years I know Charles Haley went in on that defense, but the representation of those early 90s defenses that were so damn good, man. Just so damn good that just never got the acclaim and never got the pat on the back. But, the James Washingtons, the Thomas Everetts, there's so many great players that I played with, man, that helped me become the player that I was, man. So I would definitely it would be about, for me, it would be the emotions wrapped around the fact that I'm representing my brothers that I played with.
Never a dull moment between those two. The Pro Football Hall of Fame selections will take place the night before the Super Bowl on February 11th in Arizona. Now, it's important to note both players chose to start that press conference by reflecting on the tragic injury to Bills safety Damar Hamlin during Monday Night Football. They offered their prayers and shared how the injury affected them emotionally. We'll return on Cowboys Rewind to wrap up the show, sharing how Hamlin's injury hit close to home for another player in the Cowboys locker room.
Cowboys Rewind was brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit swbcmortgage.com to find a pro today. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
The injury to Bills safety Damar Hamlin was jarring. It was unprecedented, and it hit close to home for everyone, including the Dallas Cowboys, and especially for running back Quadri Olesen, who spent time as Hamlin's teammate at the University of Pittsburgh. He shared how the incident affected him and what he would want Damar to know when he wakes up.
Well, first and foremost, I want to send my deepest prayers to Damar and his family, his father, his mother Nina, his little brother Demir, who really Damar's one of the best big brothers I've seen, and if you see how his little brother Demir looks up to him and idolizes him, you'd understand. But honestly, it's heartbreaking to see something like that, but I'm also confident in him. I know who he is. I know how strong he is. I know where he comes from. So I'm also confident, and I know he'll be okay. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It was tragic. It was sad to see it, but I knew like I know my brother, and I know he gonna get up. So yeah.
You reach out to the family at all?
Yeah, obviously, like just extending my prayers. You know, let them know that I'm praying about him, I'm thinking about him, and he's gonna be all right.
If you could talk to him right now, what would you say?
I texted him and I told him I love him, and that's what I would tell him if I could talk to him right now. Let him know I love him, and I can't wait to see him. You know, see him back around, smiling, you know, being himself.
Thankfully, DeMar has continued to trend in a positive direction. Last Wednesday evening, he was able to communicate through writing, asking doctors if the team had won. He said he won the game of life. Thank goodness for the medical professionals taking care of him and continuing to help him in this recovery process. We, of course, continue to share our thoughts and prayers and good energy for DeMar. That'll do it for our final edition of Cowboys Rewind. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you at kickoff later this afternoon.